Hello everyone and welcome to today's live stream. We are going to go through a whole process of lighting materials, visual settings, and the final render on this interior view. And I have downloaded this file online in SketchUp. It is already modeled, but we're going to go through the materials and lighting and all of the other processes. However, there's one cool thing about this live stream, and that is that this footage that I'm going to be recording here in this live stream is going to be used in a video of a software comparison that I'm planning to do probably this week, but it's probably going to come out next week. So am I going to do live streams of the other software as well in the next few days? I'm not sure. But however, after doing a poll in the community here in YouTube and after doing a poll in the stories in Instagram, it seems like I'm going to have to compare Enscape with Lumion and DeFi Render. Obviously, it's going to be the same file. I'm going to use this file for those two software as well. And on top of that, I'm going to do and try my absolute best on all of the software, because only that way is the actual quality comparable, right? So anyway, what we have here is a small living room. We have a kitchen here and a dining room, and we're going to be setting up a few different angles. So one of them is probably going to be from over here. So I definitely want to capture the dining room together with that part of the kitchen. One of them is going to be the living room, and not sure about the kitchen. But the first one that I know for sure that we're going to do is this one. And I'm going to set up the composition on this one first. So in order to set up the composition on this one, I'm going to go to the visual settings. By the way, let me know if you guys can hear me well. Is the audio all fine? Let me know in the chat, and also let me know where you guys are watching from, as always. Interested to hear more about that. Anyway, so first thing here, I'm going to rename this to camera 1, right? And dining room. And so I'm going to make the rendering quality up to ultra. I'm going to go to output, and I'm going to fix the aspect ratio. And in order to fix the aspect ratio, I think for this live stream, I'm going to use something rectangular, just that way there's no black bars or anything like that in the screen of Enscape, and it is a lot more viewable in that sense. So I'm going to go to custom, and I'm going to leave it at 1200 by 1200. And in order for that to apply to the actual view here, I'm going to have to click on the save frame tool. And as you can see, that is already applied here. Now, for the actual view itself, I'm going to need to lower the field of view to something like 70. I'm going to go a bit backwards, and I'm going to go a bit higher and probably try to capture a camera to something like this, right? So let me see. Okay, and then after I've set this up, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the projection. I'm going to leave it at 2 point. This makes sure that all of the 90 degree, straight lines or 90 degree angles or vertical lines are set to 90 degree. So I'm going to go to the view management, and I'm going to save this as camera 1 dining room. Okay, and then from there on, I'm going to move to the actual living room view. For the living room view, I think there's two different approaches. We can take it from here, or we can take it from here somehow as well. I think this can look quite cool too. So what I'm going to do is maybe I just go to the visual settings once again. I duplicate this, and I save this as camera 2, and I'm going to type in living room. Let's delete the copy because this isn't a copy. And I'm going to go to the creative view and then type in living room. Let's create this as well. And not sure which one we're going to do first. Maybe even a view of something like, let me check. Maybe even a view of something like this can look cool, right? So from over here, but no, I think let's go first with the first camera that we set it. So it's going to be the dining room. So first thing that we're going to need to do, I'm not sure why this tray isn't, I'm not sure why we cannot make it a bit, yes, I'm using Enscape. Julie asked if I'm using Enscape, yes. So I'm going to delete these. First of all, we're going to add those later on. And then first thing that I'm probably going to do is lighting. As always, I think that's what makes the biggest difference. And it should probably be the initial step, especially when dealing with ready-made models like this. Excuse me. Anyway, I'm allergic to pollen. I don't know, and it's springtime right now, so that's that's killing me. Anyway, this is gonna be a curtain. First thing, let me try and add a rectangular light from the outside. So there's one light that should come into the kitchen area. So I'm gonna go over here, add the Enscape objects. I want to be careful. I'm gonna save this because usually Enscape can crash when dealing with this kind of stuff. I mean, you've seen in previous live streams that Enscape has crashed multiple times when I'm dealing with Enscape objects. So that's why I make sure that I am saving the actual file before I import any lighting. So I'm going to increase this in size. Let's first increase it vertically, and then let's make this wider as well. Now I'm going to increase the luminous power. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. And then the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to go over here. Well, I'm probably going to have to move another rectangular light inside. So the reason why I'm not placing it outside, it is because usually when you place it outside a curtain, then there's going to be weird shadows being casted onto our interior. So I'm going to go to the rectangular light once again, and I'm going to direct it into the interior as well. And I'm going to increase this just like that. I'm going to make this larger, and I will increase the luminous intensity as well. So as you can see, it looks much more closer to daylight. I'm going to take one quick second to update the actual thumbnail of the live stream because I think I did use a wrong one. So I'm going to go to scale. I'm going to go to YouTube videos. Let me see where did I actually save the thumbnail I was going to use for this live stream. By the way, towards the end of the live stream, I'm also going to try and do a render review to all of the renders that our viewers submitted. And let me just upload this. Okay, now I think it should be good to go. Anyway, back to the live stream and back to our process here. So what else will we need in terms of lighting? So one thing that we also need is the spotlights. Let me first save the file because Enscape can also crash. I mean, SketchUp can also crash when applying the spotlights. And I'm gonna wait just a few more seconds. Perfect. Let me go to Enscape object spotlight, and I'm gonna put this directed downwards. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Good. Okay. Well, maybe what I could do to make it easier, if this is a component, yes, I think it is. So when this is a component, instead of placing them all one by one, I can just place it once, and it's going to be applied to all of the spotlights. And then I'm going to go ahead and load an IS profile that I've downloaded earlier. I mean, that I've used in previous projects as well. And I'm going to increase the luminous intensity. As you can see, the way the lighting is distributed when using an IS profile is a lot more natural and, I mean, not natural, but more realistic than the default Enscape light distribution. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select this one, and I will make it self-illuminated. Maybe not this much. I'm going to go up to here. Let's do, I don't know, 4,000. Okay. And then let's move on. So I'm going to continue scrolling here. I'm going to go to the Enscape material editor. I'm going to select the floor. Always remember to save. Yep. If you've been a part of earlier live streams, you've seen what has happened when we haven't saved. Anyway, let's apply a bump map as well. Maybe that will make it a bit rougher. But let's continue. So in terms of lighting, we are at a good base as of now. It needs a bit more attention, but I think I'm going to move on to materials for now just because I think that's what you're mostly lacking as of now. So we're going to go back and forth between the materials and lighting just because I think that kind of workflow fits a lot better with this project that we have here. So I'm going to lower the roughness of the wood on the table, and I'm gonna make this wood a bit lighter. I feel like it is a bit too dark as of now. So maybe something like this. Let's see. Yep, I think something like this can work. And then we can apply a bump map to it as well. Then next up, I'm gonna go to the wood here at the chairs. Let's go for 50, maybe even 40. I do not feel like it is reflecting enough. Is this the same wood as the one in the cabinets? Nope, so let's do the same with these cabinets. What about the kitchen cabinets? These need to be fixed as well. Is this the same as what I selected earlier? Yes. Okay, and then these ones, like the marble, it needs to be a lot lower. By the way, if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to answer to the best of my capabilities. Let's go 60, maybe lower. Let's take off this. Perfect. All right. Now I think I'm gonna change the material for a different type of fabric. So I'm gonna go over here at the Enscape material editor. I'm gonna go to fabrics, and over here we're gonna see what we actually can use. So I think I used fabric 08 previously, and I think I have liked it, but if we don't, I mean, we can just switch it pretty quickly. Let's see how this will look. Yeah, and I also want to make it a bit more beige. So let's go this way. Maybe over here, let me check. Let's go. Maybe we increase the saturation a bit. Something like this, I believe, looks nice. What do you guys think so far? Anyway, there's some visual settings that we can fix as well, but we'll check that later. Over here, this probably needs to be metal. I'm going to go to the Enscape material editor, and I'm going to select this metallic 100%, roughness 30%. And that looks good enough. Something else that we need to take care of is these tiles here. So I'm doing all the materials one by one, as you can see, and this is usually the process of any type of project, unless you're using PBR materials or the already downloaded ones from Enscape material library and you already have them set up automatically. So that's one upper hand of using stuff like that. Let's try and make this metallic. Let's lower the roughness to like 30%. And now we can move on to the other materials as well. Let me select the glass here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to specular 80%. It is a bit more reflective, and that's the way that I want it as of now. Maybe we increase the opacity a bit as well. Now I'm gonna move on to some of the other materials. Let's select this. Let's go to metallic. I'm gonna take this off, and then roughness at like 30%. Perfect. Now I'm gonna try and also, I think the handles on these need some tweaking. These have to be metallic, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go for 30. As you can see, I'm going all one by one for every single one of these materials. These white cabinets, let's go for 40. What else will we actually need here? What about this? Needs a bump map, it seems like, but we do not have that texture. So I'm just gonna input one from the albedo map, and I'm gonna lower the roughness to like 35. Is the bump map too harsh? I think so. 1.5. And we're gonna move on with the rest. So what else do we need here? Yeah, I think this also needs some tweaking. So it is supposed to have a cutout. Let me see if I can open this up. No, I don't think so. Anyway, this needs a cutout, so I'm gonna lower the roughness to like 40%. Specular, let's go for 70. And then also this metallic structure that is holding it, I'm gonna need to tweak that into an actual metallic structure as well. So roughness 30, metallic 100. This needs to have an albedo map in it as well. Let's do the roughness to like 40. I think this isn't even I don't think this is even a plaster material. So I'm gonna go to the Enscape material library once again, And then I'm going to go to plaster. Let's choose plaster 05 for the ceiling, and I'm going to see what kind of output that gives us. It is too harsh in my opinion. Maybe I just apply the same one. You do not need two different plaster materials for the ceiling and then another one for the walls, right? Like, I don't think there's a point in that. Anyway, let's move on with the rest. I think Enscape is lagging a bit, or I mean, is having some weird bugs. Hello? Not too sure what's going on here. I mean, okay. It's slowly coming to life. Good. Thank you. Anyway, this lighting object needs to be fixed. So one thing about it is this needs to be like bronze, right? So I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna move inside here, and I'm gonna select this. Perfect. Let's go to the Enscape material library, editor. Let me select it, metallic 100, roughness 30. And then this needs to be self-illuminant as well. Let's decrease this to like 3000. That's still too much. Maybe something like this can look good. Then this needs some accessories we're gonna add in just a minute. And we're gonna have to add some line lights over here as well. First, let me save the file. Let's take a breath here and see how this is looking overall. I think we're going in the right direction. Honestly, it's looking quite good. There's a few things that maybe I would tweak, but overall it's looking nice. Also, when we deal with the visual settings, that's gonna help as well. Honestly, it's looking quite in place as of now. Maybe this needs to have the roughness a bit lower down. Some accessories on the table here. The lights here are gonna fix a lot of things as well. And then yeah, then we're gonna move on to the living room. So that's one thing. Cool. All right, in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the chat. I'll be looking forward to answer any of them. And now I'm gonna move on to the line lights. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna place the line light, and then I will rotate it just like this. Let me move it over there, move it downwards, decrease the intensity. Now let's go to something like this. Cool. Let's increase the length. Let's decrease the intensity once again. I think it's a bit too harsh. Maybe I just use a rectangular light because it's more directional, and honestly I want a more directional light in these ones. So okay, decrease this side. Perfect. Increase it on this side, increase it on this side. Let's go ahead and apply this. I think this is looking nice. Width, we do not need a lot of, well, we do need the width in this side. Okay. In terms of intensity, now it needs to be a bit more than that. And yep, I think this is just good enough. I'm gonna go ahead and use the M key to move it. I'm gonna use the control key. I'm gonna use the arrows vertically, and let's go up to here. And then I will duplicate it for another 6 times. Yep, I think this looks completely fine. Do we need another line light? Yeah, I think we're gonna need to use another one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead, rectangular light. Let me save these ones because I don't wanna lose progress if Enscape, SketchUp crashes. We can add a light over here as well, over here in the back here. It's just gonna give it some life, and then maybe we can increase the intensity of the spotlights a bit. Not sure about it, but we'll check it out in just a minute. Perfect. It's not crashing finally. Maybe they fixed this bug with a new version. Have you guys tried Enscape 4.0 yet? Is this something you are excited about? Okay, I've decreased the intensity. Let me go here in the back, rectangular light. Just like that. Move it over here, move it over here. horizontally as well. Let's apply this, and then the intensity a bit lower. And I'm probably just gonna take the same rectangular line object. I'm gonna use the M key and I'm gonna move it in the back here. So let's see. Cool. I think everything's looking nice overall. Now I think we just need nice to have you from Nigeria, Omachi, interior by Janhavi from Mumbai. Nice to have you here from India as well. Perfect. What else will we need here? Let me just lengthen this light source. Perfect. All right. So let me try to increase the intensity of the spotlights. Let's see. Is it too much? Maybe. But anyway, two things left over. I think I'm gonna add some accessories on the table here, and then the visual settings, and I think we're gonna be done with this view. And we went through it pretty quickly. Let's see how fast we'll go through the living room. I think that's gonna be a different story. Perfect. Let's go to accessories, kitchen, or I guess, let me just scroll down because I don't think the asset library is categorized that well in Enscape. These can work well here. And then let's add some little plates, decorations, whatever. Let's see what we can find. Scroll. Not sure where to even search for them, but let's go kitchen. Maybe will something like this work? Oh, it's a steamer. No, I don't think that works in the dining room. Maybe I just add these here. I don't know. Cool. Let's rotate it a bit just so it doesn't look super like formal and unnatural. And then, is there anything else I would add in this render? I cannot think of anything else as of now. But one thing I would say though is maybe we can do some tweaking in terms of visual settings. All of this looks fine. Contrast, do shadows need to be a bit harsher? I think they look fine. Saturation, I think saturation. Maybe 102, 103. It just needs a bit, because it looks a bit too, I don't know, neutral. Color temperature, I think the default was fine. All of these I'm going to lower them. The vignette I'm going to leave it. Atmosphere, we do not need this. Sun brightness, shadow sharpness is an important one when it comes to this. Is sun brightness having an effect? I think sometimes it can have an effect even if it's not directed inside. So ambient brightness, let's increase that. Shadow sharpness seems fine. Sky, I don't think that's going to play a role, but anyway. So let me just render this first view out. I'm gonna render this and then we're gonna move to the actual living room. So YouTube, let me try and find where I've organized all of these files. Perfect. Hey Melos, watching from Denmark. Thank you for joining in from Denmark. Rafiman saying from Egypt. Nice to have you here from Egypt. So we have people from different sides of the world. We have Celine from Izmir, Turkey. We have Tufal from Bangladesh. We have Navi from Mumbai, Nigeria, Egypt, Denmark. That's very cool to know. Thank you for joining in. Okay, let's go on to our next view. Living room. Okay. Seems like we do have a little bit more work here in terms of lighting and some materials, especially the fabric. But let's see. So first thing that I can notice is the fabric definitely needs tweaking. Let's go to the living room over here. I'm gonna go to the Enscape material library. I'm gonna try out a few different fabrics. I think for this render, it's important to spend some time on it. Let's see. So let's go to the Enscape material library. Let's go to fabrics, and I'm gonna choose, let's say fabric 12. I don't think I've tried it previously, not sure. I think it looks a bit too flat. Let's try, let me go back to fabric. I'm gonna test out a few different fabrics here. Fabric 01, Fabric 04. Let's try Fabric 06. No, this doesn't work either. Let's try out Fabric 07. If these don't have what I'm looking for, I think I'm gonna have to use an external source of fabric here. Come on, why is... Nope. Did we get why is the preview here so different from what it is on the library? That's so annoying. Anyway, Fabric 07, Fabric 08, we use that Fabric 09. Let's see how this will look. It looks absolutely awful. So I'm gonna go ahead and check if I have anything in my own external library. If not, we're gonna have to search for it online. Materials, fabric. Actually, let me try and use this one. Nope. Maybe decrease this to something like this. No, this doesn't look good either. I'm gonna try and find another fabric. I know I'm spending a lot more time in the fabric material here, but I think it's just an important element, especially in this render. 400. I think this one can work. I don't like the color of it, but I like the way the texture overall looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the color wheel. I'm probably gonna move it a bit to, oh, no, not like that. Let me go over here. Please do a tutorial for video rendering. I think I've done one, but I'm probably gonna do another one soon because there's some updates coming out. Thank you for existing. Thank you for watching in as well. I appreciate it. Let me move this closer. Is there any other way I can control this a bit easier? Maybe I just move the age value to something like this, decrease the saturation. Let's move it a bit on the left too. Yep. I think something like this can work. Let's use this. And then I'm probably gonna add another, like a bump map to this. It already has a normal map, it seems like, but I'm gonna increase it. Anyway, let me apply this to the other parts. So to this section, let me apply it to this section, and let me apply it to over here as well. Let me zoom in. Come on. Okay, perfect. We got this. There's not too much work in this view either, so that's cool. I think I need to lower the saturation here. Yep, that was definitely a good call. Maybe just a bit higher. I think this looks fine. Honestly, I think this looks fine. These, I think we're gonna need to use more of a contrasting color here or something. HLS, let's go for something like this. Increase the saturation, decrease the, like, just make it darker. Decrease saturation now, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the hue, this needs to be a bit more like, I don't know, dark brown, I guess. Let's increase the saturation first and see how it looks. It's too much now. Make it darker. Too dark. That's way too dark. Okay. Something like this works. Now I'm gonna go ahead and select this wood material, and I'm gonna apply it here. And then the rest of the furniture. Okay. Anyway, to be honest, I don't like the Enscape library, but I love the render and the rest of Enscape. I use Viewer library, and Enscape is the best for me. The Enscape library, I think I have mixed feelings about it too. It doesn't always have the best stuff in there. However, it's very good for like quick solutions. Why is this material not applying here? Do I explode this? Or it cannot be exploded. Let me try from inside. This is weird. Anyway, let me select this then. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and match it. Let me take off this wood material from it totally. Come on. Just a few more steps. Then, okay, perfect. This, I think I'm going to need to decrease the saturation on this. This looks better. Let's go to the Enscape material library. Let's select these. Let's decrease the roughness to like 60. And then all of these, I don't know about these decorations. Honestly, I think I'm just going to take these off completely for now. It's good that I went inside the group. Hopefully it doesn't delete any surrounding stuff. And as soon as I do that, I'm going to save the file because I do not want to lose the little amount of progress that we made, but it's still, I think, considerable, I guess. Anyway, let's take this off. Let's take this off. And then let's save the file. In the meantime, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. And also where you are watching from. I'm going to do a render review right after we're done with this file. Let's see. Let's see once this is saved. I'm going to refresh the stream. Cool. Let's go back to the view here. What else do we need to edit? The wood material here. I think I'm going to lower it to like, I don't know, 40%. I think these pillows also need the same material as the actual sofa. So I'm going to go inside the group. I'm going to select it. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to do the same for this as well. And then I'm going to need to make this material a bit like, I don't know, dark red, something like that. Like a maroon color, I guess. Let's take it here. Maybe I can go over here at the Enscape material editor. Let's do a quick image fade. Well, that's too much. Let's go for like, I don't know, 40. And then let's keep this dark. That's too much. Or is it? Yeah, let's make this a lot darker. Cool. Okay. Is this material the same one as the walls? Yes. So now, in terms of this image here, I think there's two things that we have to do. Maybe I try to go for something like this in terms of the field of view, and I'm gonna need to add some accessories because it just looks too empty right now. So maybe I edit this material as well. Let's go for 40. Will it play a role if, like, will it make a difference if I go over here? Not sure why the curtains are outside though. These needs to be moved. These need to be moved more on the inside here. Maybe this is a bit too much, something like this. Cool. Actually, it's not too much. I think it was fine like that. This maybe needs to be over here somehow. And it needs to have a lower roughness because I don't think this fabric material looks that good. Let's do 40 on this and let me see if there's any difference in our overall render when we actually add the transparency to the curtains, because right now it is not. The cutout like part of the transparency needs to have a mesh here. So okay, I think what is left here for us is a few things. Well, I think we need to add cove lighting here. So that's one thing that we totally forgot. Let me save the file once again. I'm going to add the lighting here at the top. Then I'm going to add the accessories, and I think we're going to be done with both of the views. Come on. I'm probably going to try to do the same file on Lumion and D5 as well. So keep an eye out for that video. Let's go. Plus icon, let's go to line light. Perfect. So first one from here up to here. Let's add another line light right here. Let me rotate it just like this. Come on. I wish there was a better solution in Enscape for this type of lighting. This honestly doesn't feel too practical. And honestly, there's a lot of new stuff that Enscape needs. I feel like the development of Enscape is moving a bit slower than it should be. Honestly, it is falling a bit behind, and I do feel that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still my go-to software as of now, but if things go this way, I'm not sure how much time it has. Honestly, it needs a bit of boost in terms of production, with features, with marketing, with everything else. Especially with marketing, I don't think they're doing that much of a good job. Like, I think the community is doing all of the work when it comes to marketing. Let me rotate this over here. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move these two line lights to over on this side as well. Let me rotate these two. Perfect. Come on, this is the last part that we need here. Cool. Why are there some divisions there? Not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and select this color because these need to be a bit warmer. And they also need to be fixed because we do not need those lines there. Perfect. The cove lighting is done here. The intensity could be a bit lower. I think it's a bit too high. Oh, all of these are separate now. Totally forgot. Okay. Let me see the effect on this one and then I can copy it to the other ones. Well, this has 1000, so maybe let's say somewhere around 400. What about 400? Yep, I think we can use 400 for these as well. Set value 400 and we move forward. Same for this. What about this one? 400, 400. Not sure where all of that intensity is coming from in the back here. Let me see. Let's just wait until SketchUp scrolls in. The navigation in SketchUp, honestly, it's one of the worst out of all the software that I've tried, but it has so many other upsides that I cannot sacrifice for. Okay. Now let's go over here at the asset library. Let's take this off. We're gonna need some decorations for the living room here. Let me rotate, let me try and navigate everything back together just the way it was earlier. So in terms of accessories, let's see. Okay, let's go to the accessories. Let's go down here. There's some plans that we need to put inside. First of all, let's do this one. It is a bit too big, but what I'm thinking for this one is maybe I put it instead of the plant here, and maybe I make it larger. Good. And then we're gonna use another one for the table. Maybe the same one as the dining room. I think that one looked just fine. or maybe even something like this. That looks cool. And then, or maybe this one we can put over here, and well, let me just place it correctly on the table. And then the other one, the one on the table, I can just put it right like on this side. Looks fine. Let me go to the asset library. Let me scroll down. Let me go to kitchen. Or, well, maybe, I'm not sure which one would be good to go here, but let me scroll. Anyway, maybe this one. Let's try this one in. I think I'm gonna need to save the file in just a second here, because it's moving a bit slower than I would like it to. And maybe this on top. Let me just make this smaller. Let's use the M key. Let's rotate it like this, and cool. Is it a bit too much? Yes. So I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna make this smaller, and maybe I'll leave this one over here. Now that is a bit too lonely. Yeah, the composition is not working all that way. Okay. Is there anything else I can think of? In this view, honestly, no. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase this a bit, or maybe the contrast. I feel like there needs to be more contrast. I think the shadows need to be a bit harsher. Or maybe I could decrease the intensity on the spotlights, maybe just for this view. Let's see. Or maybe I need to increase the intensity on this one. I think just like the whole design overall is just a bit too neutral. Like, I wish this was something like different. It's just too neutral for my liking. Maybe at least something like dark brown, or I don't know. That's just too harsh, but I don't know. Maybe let's just reset this. Let's decrease the saturation. And maybe we make it a bit darker. And we call it a day with this render. Yeah, I'm not too happy because it's just too neutral. I mean, that's just the type of design. What do you guys think? Or maybe the fabric material is not looking right. I'm not sure. Or maybe we just make it white completely. Honestly, it looks better, like a bit, it looks better gray than beige. I like it better in gray than beige. Anyway, so for this one, I'm gonna render this out as well. Let's see, is there anything we can do in the visual settings to improve it? Auto contrast, let's do auto contrast. Saturation, it definitely needs a bit of saturation because it's just looking too flat. The color temperature, I'm not gonna mess around with that. Let me decrease these. Bloom, chromatic aberration, atmosphere, some brightness, is that playing a role? Let me see if I can put in some sunlight. I don't think it's gonna look good anyway, so I'm just gonna take it off for now. And then ambient brightness all the way up. Shadow sharpness, do we want it or not? It doesn't make a difference because we're using artificial lighting here as well. Okay, I think I'm gonna render this out as well. So I'm gonna go over here. Let's do render 2. And then I'm just gonna explore it around, because when I'm actually gonna make the comparison video at the end, we're gonna need to make it with a live stream. So, I mean, we're gonna need to make it with a walkthrough. So that's one thing. Let me copy this over here. Right click. Okay, cool. Perfect. Let me rotate this as well. Okay. Now let's copy this M key. Let's move it over on this side. The cove lighting, I think we're gonna be done with it here. Okay, so I'm gonna just increase the light, the intensity on the spotlights here as well, and then I'm gonna compare how it looked without cove lighting and how it's looking with the cove lighting. One thing, well, I'm gonna check one thing for the living room view as well. In just 1 second. So maybe this, we increase the intensity in this. Cool. And on this side as well, because it's just way too dimmed down. Let me increase this. Okay, I want to check if the rectangle lighting, when we put in the curtain in the living room, if the actual curtain blocked this, but no, it seems like it didn't. Let me increase the lighting on this. I just want to check how it looks like on the dining room if we increase the lighting on that side. The visual settings, we need, these ones. Let me try and render this out because there's some weird bugs happening here with Enscape. Not sure why the light over there is not showing. Brother, can you review my renders? Yes, I'm going to show you how in just a second. I think we're going to be done with this render in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, if you guys want to submit your renders for review, I'm going to leave the link in chat. Renders for review. You can actually submit them in this group. You can join our community in the link in the chat. And if you actually submit your renders there, I'm going to be taking a look right after I'm done with this to your renders in a live stream. But make sure they don't have what's it called? Like any advertising on top of it, like watermarks. Make sure it doesn't have watermarks, because if it has watermarks, I'm not going to review them. So yeah. Cool. So this is render 1. Let's see how it looks. In the meantime, I'm going to be waiting out for your membership requests here at school. So right now, I'm going to go inside of the community that I shared on the screen right now. And I'm going to go ahead. Well, that doesn't look right. Now that I'm exploring it, I can see some things that do not look correctly. But I think I'm going to fix that later on. Let's see. Cool. So a few things that I'm going to actually tell you is, right now, I'm going to go to the school community. So this is our school community, and I'm going to review your renders. So basically, when you go inside the community, you're going to see that we are about 600 members right now, and people actually submit the renders here, give feedback, improve, and if you guys want to do the same, you can join the community. It's completely free. You have the link in the chat as well as the description. And once again, the community is free, and I'm going to go ahead and review. I'm aiming for about 10 renders right now. So let's see. Let me take these off. I guess let me save this, and then I can show you the renders, how they turned out in just 1 minute. So this is the living room render. Honestly, not too happy with it. The lighting and overall things look fine. I just wish that like the colors weren't so boring. This looks cool. I guess the wood accents kind of make it better, and some other stuff like that. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. So, did you guys check the school community and the link in the chat? I'm gonna waiting for your membership. I think we have a new one coming in, so I'm gonna approve these, and now I'm gonna go inside. All right. First off, interior render right here. Perfect. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna save the image as. So I'm gonna scroll through. I'm gonna save the images in my computer, just that way I can mark them up and you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm actually reviewing the renders. Render review. Let me just open a file here. I want to have this a bit more structured. Okay, so this render was sent in by Abhay. So basically, I'm gonna like it here, and you guys in the meantime can also join in. I'm gonna accept your invitation in just a second. So if we look at this render, there's a few things going on. I think it's a bit too cold in terms of color temperature, and yeah, honestly, I'm not sure if this has artificial lights on the outside. Also, I'm not very sure, like this kind of material here, this material here, it is a bit too, I don't know, low resolution, too many, like too little pixels, is a bit pixelated. I'm not sure if it's the same material as the flooring, the wall, and if it's supposed to be like that. So that's just one thing. The door looks a bit too big. Maybe that's just the perspective. But anyway, now when I see a render like this, first thing that stood out to me was lighting. I think lighting can be improved, and also the other thing is the composition. So when I see this render, like just to note it out is I'm not sure where my attention should be directed to, right? That's one thing. Is this render about the wall here? Is this about the like inside outside view? The bed certainly is not emphasized if it is about that, but those are just a few things. Now, what I'm also gonna say is definitely needs more work in terms of the color temperature and those kind of post-production things. But two main things: one, composition. Make sure you pick out a better angle that kind of directs the attention where you want to emphasize the actual design or the render or whatever it is. And the second thing is make sure to try out a different lighting where you put fake lighting in the outside and kind of make it a bit warmer, because right now, even though the color accents and like it's supposed to be cozy, and I guess the design is cozy, the colors and the lighting needs to be a bit warmer as well. So that's one thing. Also, this scene right here, I'm not sure why these two should be two different materials. I'm not sure if it even has a material applied here. Maybe it's just like the default texture. Trust me, these things make a difference, especially when you're applying, if you apply plaster or anything like that. And then obviously the fabrics, those can be a bit better, but I'm not blaming it on you. These probably are ready-made models. So if you can, maybe try to find out a different model for that one. But these are just my initial thoughts on this render. Nothing too crazy to worry about. I'm just gonna leave a comment here, and yep, I think Abhay is gonna see the review later on as what I did to the live stream. So we have Elias. Hi guys, just playing around with SketchUp and Enscape and ended up with this. What do you think? Okay, so there's a few renders here. Which one should we choose? I think I'm gonna choose whichever one I think I can give the most input on. Let's say this one. So I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna put it in render review. Let me go inside. Can I do markup here? Yes. Okay, perfect. So first things first, the composition. I think the camera should be a bit higher and the field of view should be larger, right? First of all, the camera I don't think is placed correctly, and it definitely should be larger. The other thing, this right here seems a bit too messy, the outside. So what I would say is try to pick something a bit more quiet, because honestly, it seems like this vegetation here is being too lit up by the sun. At the same time, we have no sunshine coming in here. So that definitely makes it very unnatural, right? Keep that in mind, that the HDRI has to match as much as possible with the interior. The other thing is this light here seems a bit too confusing. So this lighting here seems a bit too confusing. I would say if you have like a line light here, also try to model it in, like draw a rectangle under the actual cabinets and push them inside, just that way it looks a bit better. Maybe make it warmer, and I would definitely decrease the intensity of those. I would definitely make the main light coming from the inside, and maybe a bit warmer to try and match the HDRI if you are refusing to switch out the HDRI completely. Now the other thing is these handles of the cabinets, like I'm not sure of the design choice, maybe it is like this, but I'm most certainly confident that those should be lower. And then this right here, this definitely needs to be metallic. So increase the metallic slider on this one and decrease the roughness slider in this one on the same material basically. And then other than that, I mean, this right here I don't think this is plaster. This needs a bit more roughness. This has too much roughness because it's reflecting all of the flooring here. But yeah, I mean, these are kind of the main things. This curtain seems very unnatural. It seems like it's cut off here. Like they're all, if you look at it as a whole, they're all little details. But when you add them up, all of these little details can make a huge difference. So watch out for them. Anyway, let's go back. We have Prayot. I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly, but okay, so this is the render that Prayot submitted. So I downloaded it. Let me just refresh it real quick to see if you have new memberships. Okay, perfect. Render review, cool. Let me just include this in. One moment. Okay, perfect. So right here we have this render submitted in the community. So I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna try and mark this up. First things first, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the design because I don't think that's a 3D artist role in this instance. But I mean, there's just some obvious things. So if the car is this big, then the division in the middle of the road cannot be like that, right? So just take this off. I think that's very unnatural. And then the other thing is there's no clear path onto how you're going to go inside the house. So maybe just extend this material or something. And I'm not sure if these are stairs or if it is a ramp. That's one thing. These flowers here look a bit too regular. Maybe add some bushes. And then honestly, the color of the grass is just way too saturated. I would make it a bit lighter, right? That's one thing. This palm tree looks very unnatural. I would try to switch that out for something else. And maybe I would add some more irregularities in the landscape here. That's just if we're talking in terms of if you weren't in charge of the design choices. Even right here, if this is kind of a green wall with vegetation, the vegetation seems too out of scale and seems too small. So I would definitely try something out different with that, right? Then the other thing is try to switch out the Enscape sky for something different like an HDRI. I think that would help a lot. And maybe like just try to camouflage these parts where you can see the other parts of the building, because I don't think that's very helpful into making the render a lot more realistic. Now, those are just the major things. If I'm not being too if I'm not being too detailed or too picky, but also using these kind of birds is very cliche, I guess, in renders. So maybe try to kind of, I guess, not use them. That's what I'm trying to say anyway. But yeah, these are just kind of main points for this render as well. But thank you for submitting the renders, and hopefully you found these few tips helpful. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this render. I'm gonna go to the next one. Let me refresh it. Do we have any new submissions? So Tushar Aurora submitted this in. So I'm gonna save this image and I'm gonna mark it up onto our render review file here. So let me see. Okay, so let's increase this. Firstly, let me go here. I'm gonna try and mark this up. A few things. These lights are just a bit too harsh. There's no clear way on where the lighting is going. We have some weird shadows casted in, and I think the whole render is just way too balanced, and I think it needs a bit more contrast. Now the other thing is, um, I'm not sure if this is also a design choice, but these lights here look a bit out of scale, and I would definitely try to switch this out for something which has a lot more pixels because it's looking a bit low resolution. The other thing is maybe try to find a better sofa model, because I think these corners are a bit too harsh for a sofa, I would guess. But other than that, maybe try to switch out the fabric material as well. This spotlights here, they're definitely too harsh. And also try to make these chairs a bit too, maybe try to make them a bit more irregular. I guess maybe just rotate them 2 or 3 degrees each. That would definitely help. And then the main point, especially about lighting, is I would definitely make these openings as the main sources of lighting coming in, especially in this side, if that's what you're trying to emphasize. But if you also have an opening here, which it seems like you do because I can see kind of a curtain here, maybe try to increase the intensity of the light from the outside to the inside here, because that can help into having one main source of lighting, and then maybe the artificial source of lighting here can be supplementary. So that's one thing. Anyway, let's move to another one. Thank you for submitting this as well. I'm going to refresh in just 1 second and see if we have any new submissions. We went through this one. Let's go to this. So this is, I'm Samuel Akpan, a Nigerian architect. I want to get more insight into realistic rendering. Here are a few of my work, Revit and Enscape. Let me just go through all of them, and then I will choose one on which I think I could get the most input in. Now, in terms of like view, I think all of them kind of lack composition, so I think I'm just gonna choose this one. Let me save this image as, and let's go to number 5. This is the 5th render that we're reviewing today. I think I'm gonna go for 10 today because we have enough time, and I think I have enough battery in my camera to do that. Anyway, let's go to markup. Firstly, I think these flowers here look a bit too regular. They're very copy and paste. So what I would do is I would either switch the sizes between them, make some of them smaller, some of them bigger, and also rotate the angle in each one of them to make it look a bit more, I guess, natural, and maybe add some bushes, more variety between them because they're just too uniform. Also, these people here seem a bit too unnaturally placed and probably a bit out of context. If I was you, if I actually needed to add a person, I would probably just add one person here. Walking up the stairs is something that can add a little bit of a story into the composition, because as of now, I don't think these are contributing. Other than that, the Enscape sky, I would definitely switch that out for an A0RI. That is usually my biggest, I guess, advice when it comes to exterior lighting. And then, yeah, I think this ground here, I don't think this is a ground material. Neither is this. Maybe try to add some asphalt, or I guess some pavement, something that actually matches the design. And also the alignment on this material here definitely needs to be improved. These are probably supposed to be roof shingles. I'm not sure exactly, but try to implement that as well. Something else that I would add as well is that these artificial lights are just way too strong in daytime like this, so maybe try to dim that down as well. The camera angle, probably increase the field of view on this and maybe move a bit backwards. Albert from Atlanta, thank you for joining in. As always, you do not miss any of our live streams. I really appreciate your input here. Anyway, yeah, also exactly what I said about these flowers should be applied to these flowers as well. So yeah, this is my input. By the way, any of you guys, as soon as you make these changes, feel free to submit them into the community as well, and I will definitely check them out to see how the implemented changes have affected your render. Anyway, we have a new membership pending. Let's go to the community. Do we have anything new here? We're gonna move on to this one. Xana Stocks submitted this in. Okay, so I'm gonna download this in. We're gonna save the image as. This is render, I think this should be the 6th render, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. So we have room for about 4 more into our timeline here. So as far as this render goes, the good thing is there is an HDRI. The bad thing is that we need a bit more context here overall. So maybe try to add some edges, maybe a neighboring home, same on this side, and I would definitely maybe add a division between the driveway and like the path to walk towards the actual entrance of the home, because this kind of area, which is all like cement or asphalt or whatever material you have input this, is just a bit too boring in the sense that it's kind of, I think it needs more context. And also these leaves here are just very randomly placed. I think you try to use those as a solution to kind of make this part less boring, I would say. But I think a better solution is if you just make this kind of more of a garden area, try to add some more vegetation and more variety into that. One thing I would do is I would probably try to also frame it with a tree here on the side, maybe something in the back there. I think that would definitely help. As far as materials of the actual house go, I think they look fine. I think they still need a bit of implementation in terms of changes, but I don't think that's the biggest factor that could make a change here. The biggest factor here is probably the surroundings, like better modeling, better surroundings, and probably I would say if you go to the visual settings, I would probably make the cloud temperature a bit cooler because it's just way too warm right now. So that's one thing. I'm gonna cancel this out. This is the 6th render. Thank you very much for submitting your renders so far. This is honestly great. We have a new membership request. I'm gonna accept this as well. So I'm gonna refresh and let's see. So we have some new renders. To try, I reviewed one of the renders, so I'm not gonna be able to do another one as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and review this render as well. I'm gonna save image as number 7. This is vertical. Honestly, if you guys are going to submit renders, one thing that I would say is I would prefer them to be 16:9 or widescreen in terms of aspect ratio, because it's just better and more watchable when we don't have black bars at the sides when we're doing these live streams. But anyway, honestly, it looks quite alright. It's balanced in terms of lighting, which sometimes can mean a good thing, sometimes can be a bad thing. But I would say is definitely increase the intensity of the light that comes from this window, because I think that needs to be the main source of lighting here. The other thing is I would decrease the field of view and I would move in closer. So what I would say is try to not capture this part of the cabinets, right? So these parts, I guess the I would say external parts of the cabinets, I think you do not need to capture those. But I mean, the roughness on these looks fine. And I like it, and the cabinets look fine, the tiles look fine. Honestly, very minor things that I would change here. So that's one thing for me. These light sources here, I think they're too grouped and too many at the same place. Maybe try to distribute them a bit along further. Not sure if this is a design choice or a rendering choice, but maybe I would try to distribute them a bit further along from each other just because they're too close. But other than that, I think honestly it looks pretty good. So that's great. Awesome. Thank you very much for submitting this in as well. Let me refresh this in. Do we have any new submissions? Not as of now. What else? Where were we left off and how many did we? Okay, 7. So we have room for about 3 more of them. Eco-friendly interior. Please review sustainable design bedroom done in SketchUp plus Enscape. Okay, which one should I do? I think I'm gonna go for this one. So let's copy this in. This will be number 8, the 8th render that we're reviewing here. Let's go to edit. Let's go to markup. Okay, so overall, I think we need stronger lighting that comes from the inside, from the outside to the inside. And the other thing I would say is this picture here is definitely out of perspective. So try to add in HDRI, I would say, and maybe delete these trees at the outside because they just out of context in terms of the way the sun is hitting the trees and the vegetation on the picture there, and where the sun is hitting them, the actual trees that you have placed. But other than that, that's definitely the biggest thing that could help here. What I would say is I would probably decrease the field of view, because that would definitely help with the composition, and maybe I would move the camera just a bit lower down, but that's just me being a bit too picky maybe. And something that could help here is maybe if you can change the size of either one of these, it would make it a bit more natural, because as of now the render is just a bit way too symmetrical in that sense. Maybe that's what you're aiming for. I don't know, but I personally would suggest that one of these plants would be a bit smaller, or I guess different in size overall. So yeah. But anyway, Honestly, other than that, it looks pretty good. The materials on the ceiling look fine, on the walls look fine. Not sure about the brick. Maybe that can be improved. Maybe some imperfections in that, but I think the carpet looks very good. Honestly, the rug. So yeah, there's that. Thank you very much for submitting this as well. Let's see what else we have here. So we have one membership request pending. I'm gonna accept this as well. I'm gonna go to community. I'm gonna refresh it. And we have Thomas with a Danish water building. Okay, not sure what exactly what makes this Danish. I guess it was built in Denmark or something like that. But this is the ninth render. We only have room for one more render in this live stream after this one. So I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly as well. I'm gonna go to markup. First things first, I think the material of the asphalt needs to be switched around, and it definitely needs more context in terms of modeling. Maybe add some lines here in the middle. Maybe add like a manhole, and then maybe add some curbs here on the sidewalk. I think that would definitely help. And honestly, the trees in the back seem way too uniform. Maybe try different types of trees, different type of sizes. I mean, they're different in size, but I guess different types of trees as well, because they're also the distances. Maybe plant some trees. I mean, put some trees closer, put some in the distance. I think you need layers of vegetation here, because right now they're just one big layer. I would say the material of the actual building looks very good. I mean, there's the roughness, it's reflective, it looks very good. Not sure if this cream material is supposed to be metallic, but if it isn't, I would say that it just takes too much attention as of now. But if it is that way, then I guess it is that way and it's supposed to take too much attention. Something else that I would say, I would definitely play around with the composition. I would try to get the middle of the building here. In the middle, I mean, what I'm seeing in the middle is, I guess, something like this. So this is the middle of the building. I would try to get it lower to the actual middle of the composition here as well. I'm just guessing here in terms of like eyeballing it, but I could definitely tell that the camera needs to be a bit more upper part of what is showing here. Field of view maybe could be a bit lower, but I would definitely add some context in the surroundings. So maybe add some vegetation around here, maybe some vegetation around here. Maybe instead of having someone walking in the sidewalk here, maybe someone could be going inside the building. If the building is what you want to emphasize, that could add kind of to the story. And yeah, I think mostly it just needs better improvements in the modeling, in the landscape, in the surroundings, more context, and obviously I always suggest to switch out the Enscape sky for an HDRI, because it will more likely than not, I mean, I do not know any case of mine where the Enscape sky looked better than an HDRI, so that is just one thing. But anyway, thank you very much for submitting this in as well. Let me refresh this and see if we have anything new coming in. We have 2 membership requests pending. I'm gonna accept these. If I can get another submission from someone who's watching right now, I'm probably gonna take care of that first before like earlier submissions, because there's just too many to go through. I'm probably gonna do another render review live stream soon. So okay, so we got this Cliff Coffee Shop by Charles Yu, and this is gonna be the last render of the review of this live stream. I'm gonna save the image. This is the 10th image here, and I'm gonna open it up. Let's go to edit and let's go to markup. So first thing in this image I would say is decrease the sun brightness, and because honestly it's just way too bright outside and it's just way too dark inside. Other thing I would do is maybe try to add some accessories on the table, not too much because it's gonna look way too crowded, but it definitely feels too empty right now as well. Not sure these little flower pots, I'm not sure if they play the best role here right now, because they're just a bit too repetitive and they're getting a bit too much attention. But main thing, definitely play around with lighting. I definitely like the material of the stones here. It looks very cool. The wood material looks very nice as well. Main thing I would say is play around with lighting. Maybe add some artificial lighting here in the distance, directed to the inside with spotlights. I think that could definitely help the area. And maybe even turn on these lights, because it's just way too dark in the interior. And I think once you fix the lighting, even the stones here are gonna have better, I guess, we're gonna show more, and we'll be able to see the qualities of the material that are used here and the qualities of the design as well. So that's very cool. One thing I would say, maybe to add to the storyline, maybe I guess put a couple here watching towards the mountains, right? I think it almost seems like the building is standing like at a cliff, directed to a nice view of the mountains. So if that's the case, then I think the surroundings there look fine. Maybe a bit too faded. Maybe they need a bit more saturation, but honestly, overall, I like the materials. Main thing here, I would say, is lighting. But anyway, with that said, thank you very much, guys, for watching in. I'm gonna do render review live stream weekly now, so I'm gonna add this in. And if you guys want me to review renders as well, make sure to join the community. It's absolutely free. You can join it in the, you can find the link in the chat and in the description as well. And hopefully you enjoyed this live stream. We did review 10 renders, and we also created 2 renders here in SketchUp and Enscape. I'm gonna create the same renders in Lumion and D5 as well, which that comparison video is probably gonna come out next week. So stay on for that. I'm going to be uploading a lot more content. As always, you know, I'm always active, live streaming every week, pushing out, I don't know how many pieces of content a week. Overall, in all social media, probably over 50. So thank you very much for joining in. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week with another full tutorial walkthrough of a scene, probably an exterior scene next week. And also 10 renders reviewed. I'm going to try to keep 10, maybe even